Greetings and welcome to our May edition of the Magic News Network, a Society of American Magicians International Assembly production. Always good when the SAM International Assembly is mentioned, this time by Megan Swan, the president of the Magic Circle, in her column in the March issue of the Magic Circular, to quote, "On a personal note, I was able to use the lockdown to develop new virtual routines and learn how to work a camera. This helped me to represent the Circle to an international audience, including spots on Jeff McBride's Mystery School Monday, the SAM International Assemblies, the Darkstone Dossiers, Scott Wells' Magic Word podcast, and Paul Draper's Art of Magic at Soka University." Megan Swan is an honorary member of the SAM International Assembly, as is TMC's Vice President Catherine Rhodes, who became a charter member some 2.5 years ago. Catherine has appeared as part of the cast on one of the SAM International Assembly's gala shows, a guest on the Darkstone Dossiers, and indeed together with Megan, also guested once again on another episode. Staying with the Magic Circle, we are pleased to share the news that Louise Andre Douglas Mirza, another member of the SAM International Assembly, was awarded an AIMC with Silver Star. On the topic of awards, Chris Heron as Faust, also an SAM International Assembly member and its envoy for California, was awarded the 2022 Eugene Berger Legacy Award. Moving across to Austin, Texas, a wonderful time was had by attendees at the Magic Collectors Expo Workshop weekend. Seen in the visual are SAM International members Trixie Bond, Gabe Blackstone, and Harriet Jacobson. March 28th was an historic day for the Magic Castle. The property has a new owner. It was purchased from the Glover family by Randy Pitchford. He also purchased the trademark of the name, the Magic Castle. It is going to be run through a new business entity led by Erica Larson and Milt, and it appears that the cloud of uncertainty about the leasing and continuing use of the property is resolved. Mike Caveney called it the most important day in the history of the castle since its founding. Randy Pitchford is also the owner of Genie magazine and the nephew of Richard Pitchford, aka Cardini. On the topic of new owners, the main stage, the historic East Rogers Park entertainment venue in Chicago, located at 1328 West Morse Avenue and known originally as the Morse Theater, has a new owner, a new name, and a new programming philosophy with magic at its core. Renamed the Rhapsody Theater, the 200-seat theater is now owned by the physician Dr. Ricardo Rosenkrantz, a Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine faculty member who is also a well-respected magician with several stage productions to his credit. Dr. Rosenkrantz, who will serve as producer and artistic director, plans to open his new theater in June with performances by the magicians Carissa Hendricks, aka Lucy Darling. Tickets went on sale earlier this month. Later in the summer, the theater will host two-time Magic Castle Stage Magician of the Year, Rob Zabreski. Magicians will change by the day of the week. Dr. Rosenkrantz also said he hopes to showcase chamber music, as well as world music, cabaret, and dance performances. Master magician Kendrick Ice McDonald played the lead in a production at the David Kordansky Gallery, Magic, Mystery, and Legerdemain. The performance was part of an overall art exhibition. The presentation was entitled The Legend of Black Herman, written and directed by Numa Perrier. Herman was a black magician circa 1910. The presentation ran from March 26 through May 7, 2022. Ice McDonald, the past president of the Society of American Magicians, was also recently elected to the AMA Board of Directors of the Magic Castle for the term of 3 years.
Hi, my name's Mark Paul and I'm a professional mentalist, and I'd like to invite you to my masterclass with Vanishing Ink. It's going to be filmed over 3 sessions, and I'd like to invite you into my world of mentalism, where I will be teaching you a triple billet test. A billet test where no pieces of paper are opened in front of the audience. That information is locked inside. It's a highly deceptive routine, and you'll learn some masterful billet technique along the way. I'll also be teaching you a great 3-stage card effect, where 2 thought-of cards get revealed in impossible circumstances, and then a third is found at any number. It may also be the BERGLAS effect, where you don't touch the cards at any point. In session number 2, I'm going to be talking about my Q&A act. This is something I've done for over 20 years. It is the backbone of my show. I used to close with it all the time, and this is a show that's going to give you a structure to Q&A. It is a structured approach which is going to answer all the questions you've ever wondered about Q&A. I'll also teach you how to answer questions, but you don't need that skill because it's also an audience reading act at the same time. And then finally in session 3, we're going to spend an hour and a half together where you can ask me questions live about anything you've seen me perform over the years, or anything about magic or mentalism in general. So I look forward to seeing you in my masterclass.
The month of April saw the 91st birthday of SAM International Charter member Nanny Wilson. Part of the celebrations included a live broadcast from the Magic Castle. The wonderful late-night magic show in Vegas, which has amongst its cast Mondre, Holly England, Rudy Colby, Bizarro, Lefty, and others, has been playing to packed houses. It was recently featured on the cover of Vanish magazine. Elmo Huvila from Finland, the SAM International Envoy for the Nordic countries, had a wonderful tour in Sweden. No doubt, a fine young magician for whom we predict a bright future. The last Darkstone dossiers featured guests Mike Elizalde and Chris Philippotts. Not only did it contain an intriguing tour of Mike Elizalde's secret place, part of his Magic Castle act, but also contributed greatly to the art via useful hints, tips, and excellent suggestions on how to put an act together. The importance of having the right director and script. IBM Ring 2100 has a wonderful following worldwide and has been attracting some interesting performers and attendees to its monthly virtual gatherings. Via Alan Fisher, who also happens to be the SAM International Assembly's PR and press officer, IBM Ring 2100 had another great virtual gathering on Saturday, April 16th. Many thanks to the dozens and dozens of magicians from around the world who joined us. A partial list of some of the performers, sharers, joining me that day included Harry Danarek, Drew Cardella, S. Patrick, Ryan Pilling, Charles Arkin, Isabel Harris, Palms of Aluminum Foil, John Hutzbout, Stan Hungris, and the SAM International Assembly President Anthony Darkstone. We hope you'll join us on Saturday, May 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern for our next virtual gathering, when the topic will be rope magic. All in the magic community are welcomed. On the topic of the IBM, and indeed its monthly magazine, The Linking Ring, Harriet Jacobson, who is also a member of the SAM International Assembly, had a wonderful feature. Together with Gay Blackstone, she also runs BJW Jewelry. World-famous auctioneers Bonhams will be on June 8th and 9th at their Los Angeles premises, beholding a more than interesting auction. On the block will be the Las Vegas home and extensive personal collections of iconic entertainers Siegfried and Roy. Over 500 items from their personal and professional lives will be up for live auction. All proceeds from the sale will go toward supporting the Sarmoti Foundation, the late duo's personal charity that aims to protect the endangered species they worked so closely with. The month of June will also be quite noteworthy, as on June 4th, Anthony Darkstone will have Rod Chow, currently the president-elect for the Society of American Magicians, as his guest on the Darkstone Dossiers. The talk show will focus on Rod Chow's upcoming presidency in July 2022 and his presidential motto and theme, "We Welcome the World." On June 11th, Anthony Darkstone is producing yet another star-studded gala show as a tribute to Rod Chow. The cast will be made up of members of the SAM International Assembly from various countries around the world. The gala show is appropriately named "We Welcome the World." Make a note of the dates and to look out for the PR and promotion. Sad to report the passing of David Goodsell, an immense loss to the SAM and the magic community. He was a past president of the SAM and for many years the editor of MUM, the Society's monthly magazine. He was later its editor emeritus. He was someone to be looked up to and to trust, rely, and depend on. Much more than a writer, speaker, and editor, he commanded great respect and was a true professional. To those who knew him, he was a good friend who was always kind, thoughtful, and endearing. His skills, his intelligence, and professionalism will be sorely missed. Our deepest condolences to his widow Jan and the Goodsell family. Equally sad to report the loss of the legendary Shimada. To quote our producer, Anthony Darkstone, "It is with deep regret that I am sorry to state that the legendary Shimada has passed. A man whose name will forever remain among the legends of magic." Born in Tokyo, Japan in 1940, Haruo Shimada's first foray into magic was influenced by Tenyo. He studied earnestly and practiced long and hard, then eventually obtained a job with Tenyo, demonstrating the Tenyo range. Inspired by a thumb tip, he gave his first public performance at 18. His ensuing career is true magic history, and his name is firmly enshrined in the halls of the greats of magic. One of the most successful performers of all time in the history of magic. Consummate and elegant, he never spoke on stage and presented several truly dramatic magical acts. Audience reveled in his mesmerizing performances. He studied under Tenyo and Tenkai and others. He eventually went to the US, where he excelled. He became a world-renowned illusionist. He was also a superb sleight of hand performer and manipulator. Condolences to his daughter Luna Shimada and his grandchildren. Respect, R.I.P. To watch this May episode again and catch up on the January, February, March, and April episodes, please go to our Facebook page and join. Until next month, this is Michael Leike for the Magic News Network.